Today is all about this, the PSP. Well, the PlayStation Portal. Do I wish that PlayStation put out a new PSP? I had a PSP. I loved the PSP. And this by no means is a PSP. In fact, it doesn't even come close to what a PSP can do. But I want to talk about it anyway. I got it because I have a very, very specific use case for it. And I will already start this off by saying this saved my PlayStation 5 gaming experience and was actually the very reason why I finished Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. It was very nice. But before we talk about what it is and what it can be used for, let's talk about what it isn't and what it most certainly can't be used for. The first thing that I want to hammer home is that this thing is not a portable in what we would normally traditionally use a portable for. Weird. You can't take this on the go and use it whenever, however you want. You will always need to have a very stable internet connection. Now, along with that internet connection, you will also need to make sure that your PlayStation 5 is primed and ready to be activated at a moment's notice wherever you are, because you can't do anything without your PlayStation 5 turned on and set to remote play. Why would someone want a device like that? It seems very limiting and almost not worth it when it comes to portables that you can use like a Steam Deck or a ROG Ally or Lenovo Legion Go, especially when you have those devices being able to run different software like something called Kiyaki for Deck, which a lot of people have been wondering, how does that run in comparison to the Portal? I haven't tried it yet. I'm still deciding how I'm going to go about that. I don't know if I'm going to try it. I may not. The reason why I got the Portal was because I wanted to use my PlayStation, but I was not having an easy time getting into my office and using it as much as I wanted to. And so I wanted to find a different way to go about it. I wanted to have a PlayStation 5 experience in handheld form. And that's exactly what this was advertised to do. This is advertised to give you a, not perfect, but a close to flawless, flawless, latency-free gaming experience with your PlayStation 5, broadcasting it to the device, therefore doing all the heavy lifting. So this just turns into exactly what it says, a portal. In fact, the animation that you get when you turn this sucker on and you end up wanting to use your PlayStation is you press the home button and then boom, it's automatically going to want to connect through this little thing here. And I'll let this kind of run in the background while we do this coffee thing. This itself, I hear it, my PlayStation just turned on. This itself already had some bad reviews. People didn't think the connectivity thing was good. They didn't like the design of it, of which I do. They thought it was useless, pointless, or whatever. Let's press X to play, and look, it spins around like you are Doctor Strange, and now I'm on my PlayStation 5 ready to go. I can boot up Final Fantasy Rebirth, and I am already in the game. Good to go. What's nice about this, what I really like about this, one of the main things I like about it, is that if I wanted to switch over to my PlayStation 5 right now, all I would have to do is turn on a controller, it'll disconnect from this, and immediately it will have my PlayStation 5 on, ready to go, and I can take over from there, which is really, really nice and convenient. It gives me that Switch-like kind of convenience or that Switch-like feel that I get with my Nintendo Switch. Now again, why would I get a PlayStation Portal if I have a Steam Deck? That's a very, very valid question, especially with third-party apps like Kiyaki for Deck and all these different things that you can set up on your Steam Deck to do the very same job, which I don't think those applications are bad. I think that it's very nice and convenient to have one device to rule them all. It does get really nice. I know that when I'm out and about choosing between which device to use, it just may not be as fun. And so you kind of have to like, okay, what am I going to use when I'm out? Am I going to bring all of them? Am I only going to bring some? Well, when I was considering the PlayStation Portal, I considered it because I knew that the only way that I was going to use this was at home and in my house. And we'll go over how that went with my testing, because I did run into some issues, but again, we'll get to that. I knew that my use case, very, very blue. 2 is blue. I knew that my use case was going to be very simple and specific. I was going to use this in my home. I don't need to use this out and about. It can be used out and about. I said I wasn't going to go and test it. I did. I did a mobile hotspot with my phone, and it was fine. I didn't really notice any sort of big difference in latency. And that's the thing. People often complained about latency. They advertise as it low to no latency. I experienced some latency. Yes, I did. But for me, it's enough that you end up getting used to the input delay slightly. Now, is it enough to notice? You have to look for it. You have to look for it. Now, I was playing primarily Final Fantasy VII and Final Fantasy 16 as my testing. When I did Final Fantasy 7 and 16, those characters are a little bit heavy. Tank-like, I think is what they're called. They don't turn around quick. It is not immediate input. So then I switched over to Kingdom Hearts to run around with Sora and did that kind of stuff. And I noticed it was noticeable if you try. If you're like, okay, I'm going to go back and forth and then switch over to a PlayStation 5, go back and forth, and then switch back over and like try to figure it out, you can pick up on some. Now, does it get in the way of the gaming at all? No. In fact, I went and laid down in bed because I wasn't feeling so good a few nights back, and I played through. I went and laid down at 8, knowing that I'd only play for maybe an hour. I was up till 11 p.m. playing Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. On this, I was immersed in the gameplay. Now, there are limitations. Limitation number 1, Bluetooth support. It doesn't have traditional Bluetooth support. You only have connectivity wirelessly through some proprietary chip that they have on there, which is, Sony's way of saying, buy more of our gear. To some, that would be a deal breaker. They would say, scummy moves, Sony, which seems to be some sort of consistent moves for them. They are in the news lately. I had fun covering the news, but I learned my lesson. I learned that people are really, really on both sides of this, and I don't like being the person who chooses a side and then talks about it. News isn't for me. Continuing on. I don't use Bluetooth. I try to stick to wired in. It's just the way I am. I've always been that way. When it comes to Bluetooth headphones, I have one pair of Bluetooth well, technically the headphones that I have, they're in my daily loadout. Technically the headphones I have are Bluetooth capable, but I don't use them as such. A lot of people have said, and I'm bringing it up a third time, but a lot of people have said, why would you waste $200 on the PlayStation Portal if you can just download Kiyaki for Deck for free and use it on your Steam Deck? And I'll tell you, one very specific reason. And it's only one specific reason. And for me, that one reason is worth $200. It is the DualSense controller. I know, some of you are like, that's ridiculous. Why would you spend $200 on just one controller? It's not even the DualSense Edge. You're right, it is somewhat ridiculous, but I believe strongly that the PlayStation 5 experience only sets itself apart from any of its competition when it comes to gaming because of the controller, right? Yes, there are exclusive libraries to both PlayStation and Xbox, but if we're simply talking about playing video games as a whole, the controller has a dramatic effect in the gaming. Going through Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, there are multiple moments where you're pulling the triggers and there's resistance and there's this, that, and the other, and it's nuanced, but also it's really nice. I like it. I think it's fun. The haptic feedback is so specific when you see materia in videos drop on the platform and you hear the clicks and the tings of the glass ball or materia ball, whatever it is made out of, just touching the ground, and your controller from left to right goes ting, 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 ting. It is amazing. And that is something that is really important to me, and I like that PlayStation, with their exclusives, ends up utilizing when it comes to this device. Now, some not so big important ones was I did indeed want one device that I could do this with and not have to worry about anything else, because this device stays on my desk. It's never in my bag, it's never in a case, and if it's not on my desk, then it's on my nightstand. And if it's not on my nightstand, then it's somewhere in my living room. I've used it in both bathrooms that I use. My daughter's bathroom I don't use because it's in her bedroom, and why would I use her bathroom except for I'm dropping a massive deuce and need to teach her a lesson? That's kind of funny. My bathroom, my downstairs bathroom, all doors closed, doors open, no difference. That's the biggest thing I did. I closed the door to this room. I also closed the door to my other room, and I laid it in bed with it on. The only time that I encountered any sort of latency, some issues, was when I decided to try to push the limits. I turned on my TV, so it was streaming to the portal, but it was also pushing an image to the HDMI to the TV. I had my phone on watching a video, and my daughter, I let her watch an episode of Bluey on the iPad, and I also had a movie going on the TV, and all of that technology was in the same room, upstairs, doors closed. I was saying, how bad can I make it happen? And I did. I was able to get enough interference in the way to have a couple stutters and stagger, whatever happened. Now, I will say this. I turned my TV off, did not have any stuttering. So, could I attribute it to the TV itself? Was it the total bandwidth? I don't know. I did not look into bandwidth allocation. My router setup is what my internet service provider gave me. I don't have special gaming routers. I don't have any special settings on my router. I could probably get better internet if I did. All I have is gigabit, and I've done multiple tests, and I average around 700 down, right? And on average 80 up. I wish it was more, but alas, it is what it is. This router I have is a router modem combination from Cox. They're great. I am very impressed with the gaming that I'm able to do on something like the PlayStation Portal. Again, this does exactly what I need it to do. Would it be nice to have local games? Sure. But the visuals I'm able to experience on something like this, that is what's actually kind of impressive. I was again playing Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Final Fantasy XVI, two games that came out over these past 6 months, or maybe longer for Final Fantasy XVI, but they are PlayStation 5 titles. They are not last gen, they are current gen, especially Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. That game really pushes the PlayStation 5. Now, I did play in performance mode because I want to have the higher frame rate, and I wasn't having any issues on the PlayStation Portal. Was the draw distance and the clarity perfect? No, it was a little bit blurry at times, but by no means was I feeling like I was playing a game that was on the lowest of low settings just to make the frames work. And for me, that's huge, but that's what you get when you stream games from a more powerful device to a less powerful device and let the heavy lifting happen on the powerful device. Steam does this. With Steam Link, you're able to play your your Steam library on your Steam Deck, but have your powerful PC or gaming rig do all the work. Great. Awesome. This isn't a new thing. I mean, look at Xbox. They do the same thing. So then the question arises, well, what limitations do you have with a device like this? It's just location. Now, people have talked in the comments, said, oh, I use it wherever I want. As long as the internet is connection, I'm good to go. It's great. It's a lifesaver. Awesome. Other people say, it doesn't even work in my home. Awesome. My personal experience was there was no place in this home, there's no place in my backyard, and there's no place in my front yard where internet access is properly delivered that I was struggling to enjoy my gaming experience. I'm realistically not going to play this in my front yard while my kids are playing because I'm out there to watch them. My backyard, probably not going to play this as well because why? But in my home, I am. And because of the PlayStation Portal, I was able to get through a game that was taking me forever to get through because I didn't want to sit here in my office. Now, admittedly, today, I spent 6 hours, started really early this morning, 6 hours finishing Final Fantasy VII Rebirth on my TV. I was so close to the end. It was great. I loved that game. I give that game a 10 out of 10, and I am so excited for the next installment. I'll be honest with you, I wouldn't have even come close to finishing that game if it wasn't for the PlayStation Portal. The things about it that people don't like seem to be big enough for them not to purchase it, and I will honestly say this is not for everybody. I would go as far to say that this is not for a lot of people. This is for a very select few, and that's okay. That's fine. This shouldn't be for everybody. This is not PlayStation's Portable at all. This is simply a controller, and this is what I challenge you guys to look at it as. It's simply a controller to add to your arsenal of controllers. Whether it is your DualSense Edge or what I use, which is a PS5 controller that's been modded by Hex Gaming, right? Whether it's one of these, or it's your PS VR2 stuff, we're dealing with an ecosystem. And that is really what this is. This is an addition of a device to an ecosystem or a full suite of devices. If you are looking for a way for you to interact with your games in a portable fashion in your home, this is a great option. Just make sure you're plugged directly in. If you want a portable experience like you would with a Steam Deck or with a Nintendo Switch or Lenovo Legion Go or an Ally, this will leave you disappointed because the streaming elements of this, though they work, and I believe they work well, I think a lot of the kinks have gotten ironed out. I certainly didn't run into any issues. I really didn't. I was expecting to run into issues. None. No issues getting into the games, no issues saving the games, no issues downloading games off of PS Now, which I guess it's not even called that anymore. No issues running cloud streamed games, no issues. And for a fun bonus, if you want to use Bluetooth headphones, I found that if you plug your gaming headset, mine is wireless, to your PlayStation, you can actually push the audio from your PlayStation to the wireless headset as long as the wireless headset's receiver is within the proper distance. I can't run this all the way upstairs through multiple walls, but if I was sitting on my couch and I wanted to play a game and use a wireless headset, I could do so with my PlayStation Portal. You understand what I'm saying? It's utilizing my PlayStation's audio, not the Portal's audio. There are plenty of things about this that I think are really spectacular, but the limiting factor is just the streaming part of it. And for plenty of people, that should be the reason why you don't buy it. It is certainly a specific tool to do a specific job. To sum it up, that job for me was allowing me to play my PlayStation 5 anywhere and have as close to my PlayStation 5 experience as I can in portable fashion, which means I should be able to turn it on and it should work immediately or very close to immediately, and my controller experience resemble that of a DualSense controller. That's what the Portal does. No upkeep, nothing. It is doing one job and one job only, playing PlayStation games. For me, that works. I don't want this service to be a Swiss Army knife. I know the Steam Deck can do it, but even if I had Kiyaki for Deck on there, I still would gravitate towards this for the DualSense. Let me know what you guys think. I'm impressed by it. It saved my PlayStation 5 gaming experience. All right, guys, that's it for me today. You guys have a good one. I'll see you guys in the streams. Make sure you check into Discord, which should be linked in the description. That's access to the Discord. Most of all, as always, happy gaming.